Hello, this is Jeff Dean with Manard Warren and Associates, and today we're going to be talking about the 3 critical attributes that top performing agents possess. So Maynard, why don't you take it from here?
Thank you for those of you watching this video. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. I personally think this is pretty darn important. I've been a commission salesperson, gosh, over 30 years. And so I can relate to this. These are the 3 critical attributes that top producing commission salespeople typically possess. The first is motivation. Normally, top performers have ample, if not phenomenal, motivation. Motivation consists of how much physical energy you bring to the job, how much emotional energy do you bring to the job, which equates to passion, it equates to desire, it equates to work ethic and achievement drive. So critical. Without motivation, to a large degree, nothing else matters. Secondly, goals. Top performers typically have ambitious goals. They're defined, they're focused. Top performers, and maybe it depends. Goals are so unique for everybody. Some top producers have told me they've got a daily schedule. Others tell me they've got a weekly schedule. Others do it for a month, others for a quarter, others for a year. Everybody's so different when it comes to goal setting. But top performers know what they're doing. They've got these quantifiable measurements that tell them whether they're hitting their benchmarks or not. And what I see in mediocre to folks that are less than mediocre, they've got a lot of good ideas in their head, but they haven't brought them down and created a plan of action for them yet. So motivation, crucial. Goal level, crucial. When you look at motivation and goals together, folks, that really spells somebody's achievement drive. And when you look at commission salespeople, the research that we're privy to suggests time and time again that it's achievement drive that is the number one corroborator of success in commission sales. And achievement drive is simply put, it's motivation added to goal level. The third thing that top producers typically have is they have a fearlessness around them. Top performers are fearless in their prospecting and in their selling efforts, more so than folks that are mediocre or folks that are struggling to find their success formula. Now, the top performers, they're not perfect when it comes to fearlessness. They still might have some reluctances, some hesitancies, and that's fine. It's just they don't get in their way as oftentimes as these hesitancies and these things that intimidate the other folks in the mediocre category or the folks that are struggling to find their success formula. Top performers have found a way, even if they have some fears, so to speak, they've found a way that they're still successful. So we've got 3 critical attributes on this first screen, and all of these are measured by an assessment that we offer called the SPQ Gold. The SPQ Gold assesses a commission salesperson's motivation. It assesses their goal level. And also it slices and dices fear 12 different ways. We've uncovered there are 12 specific, identifiable, debilitating patterns of thought that, when present in a commission salesperson, can shut down their show. Jeff, if you could go to the next slide, please. So when we're looking at motivation, and we're in February of 2024 right now, prospecting motivation and the motivation to sell, it comes from those levels of physical and emotional energy that I mentioned when I was commenting on the previous slide. And this energy is finite. It's not some endless reservoir that we have. And it consists of emotional energy and physical energy. And let me just comment on physical energy real quick, since we're in February right now. I'm not sure what month you're going to be watching this video in, but in February, think about the New Year's resolutions that you made. I don't know, maybe some of you, like me, made a resolution to lose weight What we're suggesting here, that since a part of motivation is physical energy, what we're suggesting is if you do go on that diet, you're going to make more money. If you actually start to get more sleep and take better care of yourself, you're going to make more money as a commission salesperson. If you stop drinking as much or smoking as much, you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more energy, more motivation in your tank, and you're going to be able to put more of it into revenue generating activities. That's why I'm saying that you'll make more money when your motivation increases. So it's a big deal. Motivation basically represents how much gas do we have in our tank. Without gas, nothing else really matters. I mean, to use that analogy of an automobile, if you don't have gas, nothing else matters. That's what motivation represents for us. Now, goal level, the second most important attribute, goal level, what we found is that top performers, they're not anal about their goals, but they do have clearly defined goals. Now, folks that are struggling, that have lower goals, they continually, in my coaching sessions that I have with commission salespeople, and I have a lot of those, as does Jeff, they talk with me about, Manard, here's some things that I should do. Here's some things I need to do. Manard, if I could only, or if I would only. They've got these good ideas. They're telling me they've got good ideas. They just haven't brought these ideas down from their head and created an action plan to execute on it. So if you're watching this video and you feel that you fit into this syndrome, which it's very common amongst commission salespeople. By the way, a lot of commission salespeople that we coach, since they don't have their own clearly focused, defined, ambitious goals, then they take what the company gives them. And guess what becomes their number one goal? Making quota. Quota's the minimal level of accepted performance. That's not why we signed up to be working for the company that you work for. That's not why you signed up to sell those services that you're selling right now, to make the minimum level of accepted performance. No, this is such a big deal. And another thing I found, for those of you that are watching this video, if you feel that this is something that right now that's a weakness for you, don't expect to become a goal-setting machine overnight. What I found is typically it takes 4 to 6 weeks for somebody to go from having all these ideas up in their head and talking about what they need to do and what they should be doing, for them to actually become somebody who's in constant action, focusing on revenue generating activities. Normally that transformation takes about 4 to 6 weeks. Now, the third attribute that we have for these top performers actually is fearlessness. And do you consider yourself fearless? What we find is that folks that have a lot of anxiety around reaching out to their prospects, it's almost like they're trying to be successful and hit their sales numbers with one hand tied behind their back, and they're not utilizing all of the different methodologies that are available to them that could allow them to be so much more successful and to do their job so much easier. Let me just give you one example. We find that 40 to 45% of salespeople have a fear of going to their clients asking for referred leads. Okay, so there's about a 50-50 chance, if you're watching this video, that you're hesitant to go back to your client base. So what does that mean? It means that you're trying to be successful with one hand tied behind your back, and you're doing it the hard way. The number one most effective way to prospect, without a doubt, is to go back to your client base. Ask for referred leads. So if you fall into that 40 to 45%, of the sales population that has a hesitation to go back to your client base, that's a fear that currently is holding your career hostage. And what we found with top performers is typically that fear doesn't exist. They go back to their clients. They get tons of referrals. All of a sudden, they're getting easier appointments to schedule. Oh, by the way, their sales cycles are shorter because they've got borrowed or implied credibility through their client that referred them. Their closing ratio goes up. That's why they're top performers. So Jeff, if you could move to the next slide, please. And if you've been coping with this, well, let's take it a different direction. The diagram of a top performer, let's put that arrow up there, Jeff, because top performers, they've got motivation, they've got goals, and then unobstructedly, that motivation is just getting into their goals. Motivation is want to, I want to do it. Goal level is, man, I need to do it today. And consequently, the top performers, they are doing the things they need to do on a consistent, regular, daily basis. There are not that many top performers, by the way. Normally, when you look at a sales team, most of the sales folks on that team are kind of in the middle. Maybe they're struggling and they're on the other end. And let's show that diagram, Jeff, if you don't mind. We've got salespeople that say, man, I know I need to call those folks, but the time's not right. By the way, that's the number one fear that salespeople have, is they don't want to be too pushy. They want to make sure they're calling at the right time, reaching out to that prospect at the right time. That is the number one fear that we see in commission salespeople, is the fear of being too pushy, followed closely by this fear. I don't want to look stupid, so I need to prepare more. And then there's another one, which is, I know I could ask for referrals, but that's going to make me look needy. And, I'm going to look like, that I'm trying to change the relationship, and now it's going to be all about money. And so I can't do that. So Jeff, if you could, we find that when folks are struggling to find their success formula, they know they need to do these revenue generating activities and reach out to their prospects, but it's followed by a but. They go, I know I need to make these calls today, but right now is not the right time. I'm going to look pushy. I need to do some research so I don't look uninformed or stupid. I can't ask for referrals today because I haven't shown enough value yet. So folks that are struggling in commission sales, typically they know what they need to do. They have a hard time bringing these ideas down and putting them into action. And here's what happens over time. And if you notice on this slide, we've got a small m and a small g. Well, why is that? Because emotionally, when you're having to address all of these fears consistently on a daily basis, it wears you down. Your motivation gets reduced. All of a sudden, you start to question your goals. You start to ask yourself, man, maybe this isn't the company that I can be, where I can be succeed. And then it leads to you lowering your goals and your expectations. That's no good, folks. Then it leads to burnout, mediocrity. Either at some point, hopefully this hasn't been you, or you're not thinking about this right now, but you think about, you start to wonder, can I be successful in commission sales anywhere? And then either your manager frees up your future, or you go to your manager and say, hey, things just didn't work out, I'm moving on. So when you look at the three attributes, Jeff, and you look at the top performers, they're not perfect. They're not perfect. It's just they've got ample motivation. They've got really good focus goals that are quantifiable and measurable. And then they've got this level of fearlessness that sets them apart so they can focus on these consistently doing revenue generating activities. I mentioned earlier, Jeff, that we do have an assessment that measures all three of those. So for those of you watching this video, if it's something that would interest you, just if you could reach out to us, we would love to hear from you. But with that being said, as you move into 2024 and you move through 2024, I know Jeff and I we're close in our partnership, and we are striving. We know we're going to have the best year that we've ever had. Wouldn't it be nice for any of you watching the video right now to have that as your idea for you personally, to have the best year that you've ever had? If you feel that we can give you some assistance reaching that goal, to have the best year that you've ever had, please reach out to us and at least have a conversation with us. So thank you for watching the video. Jeff, back to you.
So Maynard, thank you for sharing all that great information with us today. And we really appreciate all the insight. Thank you.